Hello. Hello. I think we're live. Hang on. Oh no. I'm knocking everything over already. Hello. Let me know if we are indeed live. Hopefully we should be. And hopefully you can hear me. Let me check OBS. Everything looks good in there. We are live. Hello, 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 and welcome to the live stream. Who have we got? Rick, Kyle, Michael, Murray. You need to change your video resolution. It's not supported. Okay, hang on a minute. YouTube's whinging at me. I think it'll be fine though. Does it look good? Everything look okay? Let's go. Resolution looks good. I'll leave. I'm not going to touch anything then. Hey, Caddock. How you doing, Caddock? Marcus. Derek, you've been in and out all day. So thank you for hanging around, Derek. I think you said you had to go and then you came back. So thank you for joining us. Arts and Crafts. Hello. How are you? Mr. Pixel. I speak to you a lot. Abby. The legend that is Abby219 from the original ResolveCon. We still remember that name because I picked on you from the list. I was like, Abby219. So I've been very, very busy today. Actually, I've been very, very busy for weeks trying to get this right. I'm trying to figure out a good workflow to do Magic Animate. Sorry, I'm going to keep calling it Magic Animate. I mean Magic Zoom. So we can jump in. We'll chat for a little bit and then we'll jump in and I'll show you what's going on. There are two versions. There's going to be a free version, as you well know. There's always a free version, and there is a pro version. So this is the first time I've done a pro paid-for version of Magic Zoom. So obviously, I've tried to make it as cool as I can. Hang on. So, lots of you from everywhere. Hey, Purple from Cannock. Purple from Cannock. I spoke to you the other day, didn't I? Where did I speak to you? I spoke to you somewhere. Did you email me a message? Can't remember. I remember that name. Somewhere. Is it the old free version or is there some updates? It's a new free version. Caddock, are you still planning to do the pack with Magic Animate and Zoom and any other tools? Yes. So I'll answer that really quickly. So, hey, Darren's here as well. How you doing, Darren? Good to see Mr. Mustin, as always. We've got some fun stuff coming up next week, actually. So me and Darren will talk about that next week. Caddock, your question. So when I released Magic Animate, the plan was to kind of release a handful of packs individually, but do them all in a bundle as well, which saves a little bit of money. That is still the case. Some stuff happened and I got distracted. I was doing other things. I had loads of stuff going on in the personal life, which is why Magic Zoom's taken me so long. But yes, that is still the case. What I'll do is if you end up buying, Magic Animate, Magic Zoom, and then I release 3 more things, and then I finally release the bundle, you'll get the discount. So I'll never make someone that supports me earlier, I will never punish you for that. I will always, even if I have to go and do it manually, I will individually send out discount codes to everyone if needs be. So we'll make it work. Should we have a look? I think that's the best thing. Shall we look at the free version or do you want to see something fancy first of all? Should we do something fancy to get it going and then I'll show you what's in the free version and then we will do some more of the pro version and then we'll launch things and see what's going on. So I'm going to restart Resolve. I can't even remember which ones I've got installed because I've been messing around with them trying to make sure they're all good. One quick thing, while Resolve is rebooting. Oh, hey, the wife is here. Hello, Becky. Mrs. Becky Tech is down there. Open this up. So, I've been working on this all day, and It's at a point where I think it's really, really good. I've been working on it since the end of April, kind of every day, to try and get this just right. It seems mad because it's just a zoom tool, but there's loads of stuff going on in the background. And so there may be bugs. I'm trying something I don't think anyone's ever done before, and it seems to be working really well once you get the hang of the routine. But there may be bugs. And as of yet, there's no presets. So there will be loads of presets, but I'm going to give this out to the people that want to buy it. You can test the main tools. There's still plenty there, don't worry. You're not getting ripped off by buying it without the presets. We'll make sure that the tools are good, and then I'll use the tools to build a load of presets as well. So that'll come. That may just come a little bit, like, when I say later, I mean like next week. What have I got installed? Cool, I've got a bit installed. Ooh. I've got so many things open. I know you can't see it yet, don't worry. Okay, get rid of that one. Upload. Pro. I hope it's as good as you want it to be, Caddock. I think it's good. I've tried to do some clever stuff. So, well, I mean, we'll find out, I guess. I actually changed it a few days ago. I'm not just... this is my face. I'm just installing some things. I sent it to someone the other day, and they were like, why are you doing that? It doesn't make as much sense. And I was like, oh, yeah. And it was a really good piece of input, but I'd stared at it for so long, it was something obvious, which I just completely overlooked. So sometimes that happens, and it may happen when you guys get hold of it. You may be like, why are you doing this, you idiot? And I'll be like, oh yeah, that's right, I don't know. Right, let me show you the first thing I've been working on, because I just think this is cool. It's a tracker. Now this works best in DaVinci Resolve 19 Studio because it will use the AI tracker. However, this will work on any version of Resolve, including the free versions. So it's just using the older tracker, which isn't quite as good. But it's pretty neat. We might get some crashes as well, because I've been on this all day and I haven't restarted my computer. So let's see what happens. So we're going to use this one as the example. We got a little drifty car. Let's put this at 1080p so it runs nice and smooth. It does. So, Magic Toolkit, Magic Zoom. This is the Pro version. So, we'll look at the Pro version, then we'll jump into the free version. I'll show you some of that, and then we'll come back. So, here is Magic Zoom. This is the main principle of Magic Zoom. We're on the right screen, aren't we? We are indeed. So as soon as you put it on to your footage, you can either put it directly onto your footage on the timeline, or you can put it onto an adjustment clip. And you get your little X in the middle of the screen, and you can just put it wherever you like. And it will zoom in. And then we can move this around, whatever we need to do. Now, let's put that back in the middle. One of the big things with the old version, and kind of with any version, any of the stuff I've done in Fusion, is motion blur. You probably all know that motion blur just doesn't really work. It's a bit of a pig and it slows things down and it's not very nice. So one of the big things I worked on was getting motion blur, which is nice. So look, we just slide that up and we can still play this in real time with no issues whatsoever. And that's on the free version. So the free version now has this motion blur. Let me open the free version. Bing, which just works. And that was one of the big bits of feedback from my previous version was motion blur sucks because it takes ages to use. It's render, you can't preview it, and then when you go and render it at the end, it takes ages. It's really, really good. It's really efficient. It's really seamless, and it will just work on anything. It even works on that tracker when that tracker works. So that's really, really cool. So it took me a while to figure that out, but we've got a really nice little tracker now. And then we've got some other tools. Now, a lot of this stuff is going to be on both the free and the studio. So as soon as we get to a point where it's studio only, I'll let you know. So we've got things like in and out, ins, outs only, constant zooms, and statics. So if we want it to just be only an in, that won't zoom out at the end. If it's an in and out, it will obviously zoom out as soon as it gets to the end. If we make a cut, we then have two of them that zoom in and out, and we can choose different places. That's nothing all that new, really. That was available on my previous version. We've then got the zoom amount, so how much we're zooming in to. We've got the time it takes to do the zoom, so we can make it nice and slow or nice and quick. And again, the motion blur will update as it goes. Now, something new I've added to this, which is really handy when you're applying this directly to a clip, not using an adjustment clip, is the fact that, let's say I've put it on this clip, but I don't want the zoom to happen all the way through. I want it to happen kind of in the middle. I don't want to have to cut the clip up because that's kind of annoying. What you can do is just hit play. The car's kind of coming in and say, actually, I want to be zooming in at this point. There's two buttons. There's a zoom in point and a zoom out point. So I just hit zoom in. And what's going to happen is going to read the time on the actual timeline, and then we're going to get to that point, which is just over 4 seconds, and then it's going to do the punch in. And then this car's going to keep going and going and going. I've tried to make it so it will figure out how long the clip is, which is kind of done. So it's at 18, it's going to come out. But if you want it to come out before, you just go zoom out point, and it will zoom out at that point on the timeline. No splitting clips, you can just do it. And then if you want to change it, you've got this funny little thing over here. So this is the time. So we can come in and tweak it. We can be super fiddly with it and go, I want it to be like 3 and a bit. And we can move the whole thing, and it will just update as you go. And then if you want it to go back, you just reset. The UI will update, and now it's at this mirrored effect where it just happens at the beginning and happens at the end. We've also got a constant zoom, which I really like. This was weirdly difficult to do. You'd think a constant zoom would be the easiest bit, and it really wasn't. So if we zoom in, the constant zoom is on a curve, and as you can just about see it. Let me go crazy with it. It's going to do a constant zoom as well. So this is a mixture of my magic zoom tool with a dynamic zoom, essentially, so you can do it all in one. And guess what? The motion blur works throughout the entire clip, so any motion. So if you've gone crazy with the constant zoom, that will be there too. And again, this only occurs, the constant zoom will only occur within your zoom in and out points. So again, let's say I wanted to start my zoom here. Ping. We hit play. There's no constant zoom at the minute. And then we punch in. And then the constant zoom starts. And then we can go, right, car's going off screen. Now we punch out, and there's no more constant zoom. Boom. All in real time. Couple of buttons. No messing around. Hiya! No messing with clips. All that sort of good stuff. Let me reset all of that. We've also got easing. Now, easing is standard. You know what the easing is. So we can set the in and out curves. We've also got this mirror curve. So one of the issues I had with the previous version is, this is all free, by the way. This is all still free. All of the buttons, everything so far I've shown you is free. And yes, you can do it by adjustment clips if you prefer. But when I used it, I'd quite often dump it on a clip, and then I'd get annoyed because I'd have to go back and cut the clip or grab an adjustment clip afterwards. So the idea of that is to go, right, boom, we can just mark the in and out points and we're off we go. Now, mirror curve. So this in and out represents the start and the end of the one curve, right? So you go, I want it to start really aggressively and then, I don't know, go back at the end. And what it's going to do is go really quick and then have this little boingy effect. Now, the problem I had with it in the past, let me do a zoom out there, was on the reverse, it does the opposite. So it does a little in, out, and then back. And I wanted it to not do that. I wanted it to fly back and then do a little bit of a pingy. So you can just untick that box now and it will mirror it. So this will fly back and then do a nice little bounce. It's a small thing, but it's just one of those annoying things. So it's like, oh, yeah, let's fix that while we're here. Right, now we're still in free. Still in free, still in free, still free, free, free. And this is free too. Pitch and yaw. Which apparently I've been told I've got the wrong way around, and then I Googled it and it looks like the right way around, so I'm keeping it, and if it's wrong, then I'll change it. So, This, I've tried to make this super dynamic. Again, the idea with my tools and all the stuff I want to do with the stuff that I bring out is, I'm going to get a drink while I'm talking, is there are other ways to do things, and there's ways to do it where it's complicated and it gives you loads of options, and sometimes that's better, to be honest. But like Magic Animate, for example, relatively limited in some ways. It's designed to do like relatively simple animations, but just save you that annoying bit of time every single time. That's why it exists. So what I did with this DVE, with the pitch and the yaw, when I've used it in the past, it's annoying because you go, oh, put a bit of pitch and a bit of yaw, and from this angle it looks wicked, and then from the other angle it looks like garbage because you're just looking at it and it's all weird. What I've done is it's dynamic. So when you've enabled this pitch and the yaw, when you hit play, if you're in the center, it won't look like it's done much. But if we go to the edge, it has. So as you go to the edges, it gets more obvious. And as we go to the other sides, it flips. So the idea is it's kind of set and forget. And this becomes really important later on in some of the paid versions, which we'll get to. But you can do this really cool effect. So this works better on like screenshots kind of thing. But it's super duper funky. And obviously, as you hit play, that animates it in. Again, set the zoom in point. There'll be no pitch and yaw and anything like that until the zoom in point. And then we get our funky funkiness. And I'm going to come back to the tilt shift, because that is studio only. So we'll come back to that in a minute. Let's turn off the pitch and yaw for now. There is also shake. So, again, the shake will only occur when you've zoomed in. So it's within that range. So I can zoom in, and then I've got some camera shake. And again, we can put some blur on this. We can speed it up, we can slow it down, we can customize the shake as much as you like, get the shake to look however you like. But there's also an option to change the shake to only happen when you zoom in. So at these little punch-ins, we can give it a shake effect. So if you want like a kind of a crazy sort of like wobbly punch-in, you can set that as well. So you can kind of tweak the way it transitions a little bit as well. That's all still free. It's designed to zoom in. And that's how it works. It zooms in. You can zoom it out. And I've put some catches in the background to make sure that it kind of works. But it's not designed for that necessarily. But it does work. But just to make sure if people were doing this, I've put this on here. So you can go, right, I want a gradient background. So when it zooms out, it looks nice. And you can put a drop shadow on it. Like that. Which, generally, if you're doing that sort of thing, you're probably better off with doing it in Magic Animate. But it works. And again, if we was to do an end point, or if we were to just do a cut there, and then we've got two of them. Whee! And we could come in and do some pitch and some yaw. But it's going to do slightly weird things because we zoomed out rather than being in. So it's a bit strange. But it does work. So there you go. Free version. That's the free version. Oh, it's not entirely the free version, actually. Let me show you. So when you download the free version, there's two. There's a Magic Zoom Free. That's the exact one you've just watched. So you've got buttons, you've got pivots, you've got motion blur, you've got all your in and outs, you've got your zoom points, your resets, your constant zooms, your startings, your easing, your pitch, your shake, and your backgrounds. So that's all there, and it's ready to go. I've also put on another version which does exactly the same but doesn't have the motion blur. Why would I do that? Let me show you. I figured out a way to make these run really bloody quickly. Now, if you use the motion blur, it reduces the frames a little bit. It's the most efficient motion blur I've ever been able to make. And I think it's good because you can do it all in real time with no real issues. But in the version I made without motion blur, it's really quick. So all of these, it might be a bit slow. I might even get a crash now because I'm running OBS as well. But I've got 4 on here. This is just over a minute. Let's go to the deliver page. I've done loads of tests earlier. Let's do that one. Add a new job. Again, this might crash because OBS is running and I don't know what it's going to do. But this is going to run at 160 FPS. All of that's got zooms on. So I am still dropping frames because I can technically run this on my card at like 200 and something. But it's really, really efficient. So the one with the blurs is a bit less. I can run that about 120, 140. So it's still pretty quick. But I put the fast one in there without the blur, because if you're not bothered about the blur and you're just doing these for some tutorials or some punch-ins and whatever, you can run it off super quick at the end as well. So there are your 2 versions. That's the free version. In a nutshell, as the saying goes. Did it look good? Let me know what you think. And I'll fabulous. Talk amongst yourselves. I want to let me just try and figure out what's going on with that tracker. I'm going to restart Resolve. It might be something as really simple as that. Also, by the way, I shall launch the free version in a sec, so those that are only interested in the free version, you can go and download it. However, if you stick around, once I've demoed the Pro version, we will launch the Pro version, and I'll do a bit of a giveaway as well. So, hang about. And for a few minutes, you can look at my face. You can look at my thinking face. As I'm going, what is going on over here? Why is it not working? Because I want to be able to ship this, so I can if I can figure that out, I can ship it, can't I? It's like it is. What have I done wrong here then? How long does it take to develop add-ons like this? Well, quite a while. So that's the free version. That's the easy bit. It gets more complicated. And it's this next bit, the complicated bit, which has really been challenging, shall we say. Oh, the tracker's working now. What was it doing before? Bloody silly thing. Let me just test it one more time before we put it back on. Are you going to make me look like a mug, Mr. Tracker? Or are you going to work? It's working now that you guys aren't watching. And I haven't changed anything. It's just trying to make me look like a fool. Right, let me close it down. And we'll open it again and we'll try one more. Can you help with the V3 whip control angles? It's confusing. Yes. So one of my jobs, again, I've said this before, and I don't mean to keep putting it off. One of my main projects is I'm going to do loads of tutorials for Magic Animate. And some of the stuff I've learnt doing Magic Zoom would be super awesome on Magic Animate. So I'm going to go back and redo some stuff on Magic Animate as well, which will just make things much easier. Keep your fingers crossed. Let's see what happens when we record this. I don't know why it didn't work before. It might go wrong again. Let's try this tracker. So, this is only in Pro. Everything now is Pro only. And yeah, everything now is Pro only. So we'll look at the tracker, we'll launch the free version, and then we'll look at some more Pro stuff. So we've got this jogger here. So we've put the tracker version on. So the UI looks very, very similar. Oh, I need to remember to show you something else. The UI looks very, very similar. We've got all of the same things, zoom in points, whatever. We've got no pivot for this one. So what happens is we go to the tracker, we enable the tracker, and then we make sure that we have our Fusion overlay enabled. We get this little thing, and I'm going to put it on the back of this lady's head, and then I'm going to hit play. And it's going to track. It's working. Yay. And it's done. And now we've got this little wiggly line. And now if we go back to controls, we put the zoom on. It's going to zoom into her head, and it's going to track across the entire thing. And then when it gets to the end, it's going to zoom out. Boom. Or, this is where it gets cool, I don't want it to zoom in at the middle. I want it to zoom in now. So we use our zoom in points. So it's going to sit static, punch in, track it, zoom out now, out we go. The other cool thing, motion blur. As mentioned, this motion blur works over everything. So this person's not running particularly quickly, but as we zoom in, I'm going to go overboard with the motion blur, just to highlight the idea. But you can see we get a motion blur on every little bit. Let's try the car again. Because the car will break because the car goes off screen. So it's just a good little example. I'm going to go from here, tracker, enable, boobity bop, track. See, it's working fine now. I don't know what it was doing before. It's just having a mare. And it's going to break, but I don't care. If it does break, it's relatively easy to fix. Car comes in. Now we're tracking. Now we can set our zoom amount, and we can do some motion blur. And we're going to pop in. And what I'm going to do this time, I'm going to go right into, let's go to 2. We're going to do a negative 0.5 on the constant zoom. So as we punch in, motion blur is going through this. We're also zooming out. So as this is occurring, we are panning out slowly. But it's tracking the car. And I'm bored now. Zoom out. Boom. Tracker. Bloody thing tried to make me look like a fool. But it works. It's been working for me really well, actually. It works well on faces. It works well on eyes. There's one clip. It has limitations. It's the tracker within Fusion. So if it doesn't work, if it doesn't like a particular clip, unfortunately, it's one of those things where there's very little I can do about it. But we'll shove this on. Go to the beginning. Tracker. It sometimes loses this one, so it's quite a good test. Track the face. Yeah, there you go. It's lost it. So this is a good example. Tracker is not in the free version. No, this is all Studio now. Pro, even. All you do, you've got these little keyframes over on the very far right-hand side. I always hit the one on the left to find the next one along, and then you hit the one on the right and go to the end. So we're right into this point there. And then you just go, oh, okay, it's on our nose. It's meant to be kind of on our glasses. You put it over there a bit. And you just sort of move it a bit, and then you go, try again. And now it's done. So it did a bit of a hiccup, but now it's figured itself out. And if we go to controls, let's zoom all the way in. Motion blur this mofo. And there you go. And you can still, this is not a great example because this person's right in the middle of the screen, but we can still do your pitch and yaw as well. And as they're moving from left to right, it's automatically adjusting the pitch and yaw so that it's always correct. They're always kind of on screen. And you can still do your camera shake as well if you'd like to. Tracker. A couple of things about the tracker. It works really well, as I'm saying in my testing. It's loads of fun, actually. You can just do some cool effects with it. It won't track your mouse cursor. The original idea, the reason I started doing it, I was like, if I make my cursor really big, so I made my cursor like 400% on my screen and made it bright yellow, I was like, can the tracker track it? No, it can't. So, yeah, my thought was like, well, I don't need to do any zooms in if it would just track my mouse. It didn't. So I've still got loads more to show you. Let me show you one thing, and then I want to show you the really cool thing, and then we'll get into some more of the details. If any of you YouTubers are here, this is the next really cool thing. one more thing first. So as I mentioned earlier, let me do I've got this. This will work. I have this image because it's part of my thumbnail. Magic Zoom Pro, which is the do everything kind of job. And we've got a little X on screen, bottom left-hand corner. We're going to enable a bit of pitch and a bit of yaw. Sometimes the pitch and the yaw, it just takes a second. And weirdly, it's fine to play. Like, I don't drop any frames, but it just has to think for a little bit. Ash is just, you haven't, not yet. Now the cool thing's coming. This is just subliminary stuff. So one thing I really like to do in all of my tutorials, and I'll switch my face 1 second for this, because there's a warning for this. Everything I've shown you is available it's only in the pro version, obviously, all this fancy stuff. But it will work in the free version of DaVinci Resolve. So you can download Magic Zoom Pro, even if you're on the free version of DaVinci Resolve, except for this one next thing. When you download Magic Zoom Pro, there's 2 versions. There's one for a studio install, and then there's one for a free version of DaVinci Resolve install. My plan is to come back and make a fake version of this so everyone can have it, but at the moment I just haven't had time. It's tilt shift, which I love tilt shift. So as we zoom in, we've got our 3D effect. We can enable tilt shift, and we get this really nice bokeh kind of blur effect. Let me import some OBS, because it works really nicely on that. Some of my actual sort of screen recording stuff. I'm sure I've got one somewhere. That one will do, hopefully. Nope, that's not one. I need a faster drive. This one's slow. Beta. Yeah, that'll work, I'm sure. Although I think I'm literally just the one screen. Oh, it's fine. So we'll put Magic Zoom on here. Pitch, we'll give it a bit of pitch and a yaw. When you're using the pitch and yaw, generally the best way I found, you do one way and one the other. So if I go bottom left here, if I do like a positive pitch, negative yaw, it works really well. If I flip them, works really well. You can also just do a little bit of angle if you're kind of cutting a bit of edge off. You can also turn this dynamic thing off. I forgot to say that. So if you don't want it to be dynamic, you can just switch it off. But we put this this tilt shift, and you just get this really nice bokeh blur kind of effect. And me being a massive nerd that I am, I spent loads of time making this accurate for some reason. No one's going to care, but because you lot are probably nerds like me, I'm going to show you. So when you zoom in, you get a shallower depth of field. So the effect increases, because when you're using a camera and you get closer to something, you get a shallower depth of field. So you can do a really nice sort of effects with it. So I'm like bottom corner, top there. So I've got this Blackmagic logo there, and we punch in, and there we go. We've got this really nice 3D sort of effect. And we can come in and we can change the strength. We can change the focus sweep. We can change the range. We can do all this sort of stuff. And what we can also do, again, probably unnecessary, but as we punch out, so I've done a constant on this. Let me shorten that because it'll take ages. The 3D effect is going to settle down. You know, it's going to decrease, but so is our. Look, this is all coming into focus because we're moving away from the plane. So the distance between the subject and the background is technically yada yada yada, super nerdy. But there you go. It all kind of works. But as I mentioned, that is only available if you're using DaVinci Resolve Studio. But I love that. Look. Move it around. Look. Whoop. Yep. 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 It's cool. Do you want me to show you the actually cool thing now? That's all the other stuff. I haven't shown you the main thing yet. Before I do, there's just something over there I need to get. No one will know. So, yeah, that's all. Actually, there's more I haven't shown you. I went full nerd on this. This is taking me weeks. Weeks and weeks. Let me show you the other stuff. So when you download the Pro version, you get Magic Zoom Pro. That's everything that I've just shown you. I'm gonna dangle this. I still am not going to show you the cool thing yet. We'll show you the cool thing in a minute. There's also, for everything, there's a Pro version. Sorry, there's an effects version. So let me show you some of the other stuff first. This is an inner. So sometimes you don't want to zoom into the screen. You want something to pop up, right? So again, we've got everything on screen. So I can go this lady here. And it's just going to, rather than zooming in, we've got a masked area which will pop up. And then all the controls are the same. So you go, yeah, I'll zoom that in a bit more. Oh, they're cute. Such a noob. Oh. Thank you, Cadec. Should we start that again? Shall we? You get a tool and you get some other tools. You get this one, is what I'm saying. Look, it looks cool. So you get your little cross. This is the point that you're zooming into. But you get this little mask. So rather than zooming into the screen, you pick the point that you want to get bigger, and it will get bigger. And there you go. And then you can, all the controls are the same. You choose the zoom amount, you choose the length, you choose the point it comes in. Pops in then, goes away now, goodbye. And off you go. So it's really cool if you want to highlight things on the screen. Before we go into some of the fancy stuff, yes, of course I made a tracked version. Because why wouldn't you? Run, lady, run. Oh, that made myself sound a bit creepy then. I apologise for that. It means... Boom. The stuff doesn't line up very well because it doesn't really know where it needs to be. But, blink. And it will track. How cool is that? Let's go back to the main version. Now this version, we go to effects. Not yet noobs. I'll do that after this section. I'll make it live. So this is obviously an ellipse, but we can make it a rectangle if we prefer. And this one has two effects on it. We can put a border on there and we can put a drop shadow. So this is kind of the light version. So the same with the tracker. You can put this on the tracker and you can make it follow along with a whatever size mask you like with, excuse me, whatever stuff. And you can change all the colors. You can add glow. You can do drop shadows. You can do all this sort of nonsense, whatever you want to do. Something I really like, it's probably going to be hard to see. I'll make this really big so you can see it. So what's happening here is it's got a rectangle mask, and the mask is going from 0 to whatever size, 1, right? So the mask is expanding. So as we hit play, you can see this mask grows. We can actually turn that off. And what happens is, especially with this, an area of the screen just expands, and I really like the way that looks. Really, like, just kind of looks cool. And it looks cool when you end it, because it kind of just goes like, bloop. Like you're putting like a jigsaw piece back in. I just think it looks cool. Anyway, so you've got those. So we've got the magic zoom where you're zooming into a point, and then we've got the inner one. There are more we'll come back to in a moment. But for each of these, there's also an effects one. So Darren's still there. I'll get to the good bit, Darren. The next bit is probably the most useful for you. So this is the... Oh, that's the wrong one. Hang on. I need Magic Zoom Pro effects. I thought it was going to go. Well, it was going to be broken. Then it wasn't. It's all good. So this one is all the stuff I showed you earlier. So I showed you all of the stuff, you know, with the ins and the outs and yada, yada, yada. But this one you can customize. So I can put a mask on. So I've got an ellipse and I've got a rectangle. And then you've got tons of effects. So I want a border. I've got a border. And in the border, I want that to be a bit red. So I've got that. And on the outside, I want it to be a mosaic because I don't want to show any of the kids or whatever. There you go. Done. Or we turn that off and we go, I just want a regular blur. I want a radial blur or a prism blur or a different color or a darken. And I want a dent effect in the middle. Turn the wrong one off. A red prism-y effect. Boom. You just click the buttons and you've got it. Now these effects will slow things down. These are the biggest hindrance, to be honest. Because 3D stuff just makes Resolve kind of chug. But it works. Like, I really like it. You can soften the edge, which I like doing, and turn the colour off. I like just doing like a border, but I make the border Gaussian, and then you might put like a prism effect in the middle, which is probably going to be hard to see, but you get like RGB. That's for snipers. That's a funny comment. That is true. And it just does the thing. And then at the end, I'm just going to do a cut because I'm lazy. It will pop out. And the exact same thing as before. You do your in, you do your out, yada, yada, yada. I run this, I must have said enable render cache. I run this entirely with render cache off because I like to see it live. I'd rather see it live than have it render and then me change my mind. So I always kind of leave them live. But yeah, you can mess with that. And the exact same thing for the inner one. So we've got the inner effect. There's another version. So in the base version of the inner, you've only got drop shadow and border because I want it to be a lightweight version. This version, you go, give her like a bobblehead, or drop shadow on that with a border, and I want. Let's just put the background as a gradient. Obviously, we probably wouldn't want that. We'd want to come in and mess with the alpha channels. Maybe lower that a bit. You get the idea. But you get a cool effect. And you know where I'm going with this. Yes, of course, I did a tracked version. So you can do the tracked version with all those effects. Now, honestly, that will make things run slow. Because there's loads of stuff. But it will. And it's cool. So I'm going to switch to my face a sec because I'm going to make the free version live, and then I'll come back and I'll show you. There's still more. There's still quite a lot more. People keep telling me to put my prices up, but this is $30. I hope that's so. You let me know what you think. I am many things. A good salesman or a good businessman is not one of them. I think that's right. Let's screw it. Yeah, publish now. Okay, I didn't have time to make a nice looking sales page and stuff for all of this, so it's a bit janky. There you go. Go to MrAlexTech.com, magic, zoom, free. So that's just the free version. There's more to show you in the pro version. So let's all take a moment and then we'll show you. Should we show you the really good thing? Yeah, let's get to the really good thing now. Let me just read some comments. What do you think is the best and most stable DaVinci update? I'm on the 19 beta 3, and it's been all of this has been designed like I did this. When did 19 come out? All of this has practically been built on 19, except for the fact when they broke the UI. So then I went back to the old one, and then I came back on 0.2. So there you go. So free version is live. Let's come back and we'll show you. I'll get into the main thing now. You're waiting for the pro. Thank you very much. Partly the reason why I'm holding the paid version back is because I'm kind of testing this live with you. We're kind of making sure it works. So, I mean, obviously it's been thoroughly tested. Let's go back. I'm gonna push the button this time. Ta-da! Right, let's do this on this image because then the image is an infinite amount of time. Sweet. So if there's anyone here that's never used my Magic Animate, something I haven't shown you, let's say I wanted this inner zoom with a drop shadow. I'm lazy. I don't want to have to do that every time. What you can do, every single tool has every single tool in the Pro version has my saver tool built in. So we click save. It's got some notes. You have to click the little Harry Potter icon, as I call it, the little magic wand, to jump into Fusion. And then all you do is you go, give this a name. Inner zoom is, yes please. Hit save. Completed. You may need to restart DaVinci Resolve to see the new effect in the effects library. That's standard. But mine has updated, so I just go magic zoom. Oh look, there's now a folder number 6. There it is. Inner zoom is. Boom. Done. So you set this up once, and then there's a nice quick way. So that kind of comes into a play with all the effects. So you can fiddle with the effects, get the colors, get everything right, and then you can save them back in so you don't need to do it every single time. Now, on that note, as mentioned with the presets, when I make the preset, what I'm going to do is when you hit save, it's technically saving all of the effects are there, even if they've turned off, they do have a performance impact. So the presets which you save will technically be slower than they could theoretically be. When I make the presets, I'm going to do it manually, so I will delete any of the effects that aren't being used. So the MrAlexTech made presets, of which there will be plenty, will be a little bit quicker to run as well. But that's kind of why I'm waiting for you guys to try it, mess with it, find the bugs, and because I'm one man, like there's only so much testing and stuff that I can figure out. And when I feel like it's super stable and no one's found any bugs and stuff, then I'll spend the couple of days, because it's quite a long process, to make all the presets, and then there'll be an update. Hopefully that makes sense. Will it upscale? Yep. Timeline resolution. It's absolutely fine. It'll work on any frame rate, any timeline resolution. A couple of caveats to that. It doesn't like when you're using the wrong frame rate on the timeline. That's not a me issue, it's a Fusion issue. So it bases the speeds of the zooms off the clip frame rate rather than the timeline frame rate. So certain things will work quicker than others. Does vertical work? Yes, it does. It doesn't care less what you're using. It will just work. So off you go. Someone's asked, how do you install the old version? All you do, go to Fusion. Has anyone tried the vertical layout, by the way? It's way nicer, especially if you're on a widescreen. You open up the effects library, which is usually on the left-hand side. Mine's obviously down here. And then what you want to do is you'll find tools and templates. If you right-click on templates, mine's got so many in there, it's going to take a second to load. There you go. And you go show folder. It'll bring up all of the templates you've got installed, these DRFX files. You find the one you want to get rid of and you just delete it. That's how you get rid of them. Will the Pro version be iPad Resolve compatible? Yes. So I haven't tested it, but it should be. In the previous update, in 19, I think it was, they added it so all the on-screen controls, all of the zoom points and stuff, now work on the iPad. So in theory, nothing I've shown you shouldn't work. Can you run the tracker on the iPad? I guess you can. Can I show you something which is broken, but I love the idea of it? And it really annoys me that it's broken. Because this has been an issue. I know, I saw someone in the comments, and I've just twigged. What was your name? Where have you gone? Asher Rowland. You know, you're on the website. That's vague, isn't it? The ones where you do the stuff for Fusion. I can't remember what it's called. And everyone talks about how to make macros and stuff. That website. If you're the right... Is that the right name? I might be confusing with someone else. If I am, I apologise. So one of the biggest issues, we suck less. Yes, that one. Thank you. So one of the big issues when you do anything with Fusion, when you drag this on, right? This image here is, how big is this image? Quite big. 2782 by 3477. It's a big image. This is a 1080p timeline. So what happens is as you zoom in, put the right one on there, Al. I've disabled it in the background, haven't I? Yes. Because I messed with it. There you go. As you're zooming in, this is basing off the... Hang on a minute. So as you zoom in, this is then working on a 1080p timeline. So it's basically lowering the resolution because you're working on 1080p, not the native. What you can do, now this breaks things, as mentioned. So what you have to do is you go to retime scaling and you go to, you'll like this for We Suck Less, I think. You go to fit or even fill. So this is now fully filled in. And if I put my thingy on here, actually, let me do another image which I've got, which is super sharp. And it's a good example for this, because that image is slightly mushy. Where's the face? There it is. Right, I don't know how this is going to look on stream. That looks a little bit mushy. Like it works, but it's 1080p. It's taking this massive image and making it 1080p. So what I've done, this is a neat little trick. You've got this clip name up here. You grab the clip from your media pool, you drag it over to this clip name, you give it a second to refresh. Skadoosh! We're now running at the native resolution of the clip, not the timeline. So it doesn't matter that we're zooming into things. Now, obviously, for tutorials and stuff, it doesn't matter. I would never bother to do that for my tutorials because it looks fine as it is. But if you're doing images and you need it to be native, you can. Downside, breaks all the actual native transform controls. So, you know, swings and roundabouts. Right, let me show you the really cool thing which I've been working on for my entire life, it feels like. And this is hidden in Magic Zoom Pro. Now, you can either do this on the clip directly or you can do it with an adjustment clip. I'm going to do it on the clip directly because I like the workflow, and I'll show you why in a moment. I'm really proud of this. Genuinely really proud of this. This is what I've been doing for more time than anything else. So we have one pivot point, right? So we go to wherever we want to go. Bottom left. But often, one's not enough. So, what we do, there's this button here, which I skimmed past earlier, and no one spotted it because no one said anything about it, which is cool. It says switch to multi. We give that a click, and then we get these additional options at the top. In, mid, out, pivot time, pivot transitions, pivot timing, and then a new set of curves. Then what we do is we make a cut on the timeline. We click a new clip, which is this one here, and then we go, this is a middle. And this one will reset with a new pivot point in the middle of the screen. And I go, all right, now I'm going to go to the top right. And now if we hit play, bottom left, it's going to animate to the top right. And then we do a cut. We click on the new one. We hit mid. Once again, you have to hit mid every time. And I go, I'm going bottom right. It's going to transition to the bottom right. So you can build up your tutorial timeline in real time, right? You just go, oh yeah, I'm talking now. Make a cut. Click this next one. This is a new mid. This one I want to go back to the bottom left. We hit play. Gets to that edit point. It does the whole thing. Pretty neat. Then, once you're done, you go, right, we'll do another cut. On this last one, we need to make this an out. And it's going to whip to the middle. And then again, we've got the same controls. So we've got this kind of excess here, but I want to zoom out. I go zoom out. There you go, we zoomed out. More cool things. At the start, obviously, this transition, this whip from the original point to the second point happens right at the beginning. If we don't want it to happen right at the beginning, I'm just going to let it play. There's a set pivot time. So let's go halfway through this clip. Set the pivot time. Now, ooh, I didn't have it highlighted. Oh, what a numpty. Set pivot time. And now it's going to wait. And now do it. The other benefit with doing it directly on the clips, obviously that one won't work because I've messed around with the pivot timing. But for this one, for example, if I'm unhappy with the timing, it just move the edit point. And you go, oh, look, oh no, now it works. So for tutorials, you do it all live. Now, you have to do that workflow. You have to go start. Let me do it again. You take your Magic Pro. Boom. You switch it to multi. Boom. You can then put your point wherever you want. Happy days. And then you make your cut. And then you click on the second version. And then you hit mid. And now you're good to go. Now you can put this wherever you like. Whenever you like. And you're good to go. And then you make a cut. You click on the next one. So you have to go from left to right. If you go back now and edit one of the previous ones, it will obviously break the routine. It will break the system. But that all kind of works. And I've put a few catches in to make sure that you get it right. I'm going to do a cut. This one needs to be another mid. So this is going to say it's going to be, because I'm doing multiple mids, this is going to say it's a successfully swapped to A. So then if I do a cut on this one, and I hit play, it won't line up because I forgot to hit the mid button again. I can go, this one says A. The previous one's A as well. So I need to just swap that around. So now A and B line up. Yeah, sweet. Now I can put that wherever I like. Guess what else works with that? Motion blur. Remember, all of the motion blur gets applied. And tilt shift. Sorry, DVE and tilt shift. All of them. Everything. Give me everything. So we'll enable this at the beginning. So we've got this nice, sexy little swoopy doopy thing. That's the official term in the dictionary. And switch to multi. Mid. Bosh. We're going top right hand corner. And what I'm going to do, there's a transition time. So I'm going to set this to 3 seconds. And of course the pivot, because we're all looking in the center, that will all work. And because the tilt shift is doing the same thing, the angle of the tilt shift will change dynamically as well. So again, you do another mid into the center. Happy days. Now, if you prefer adjustment clips, and actually visually the adjustment clips are really nice to look at, but you can't adjust them quite so much. There's a bug. I think it's a resolve bug. You can't go into negative numbers without it just Fusion just shitting its pants. So don't do it. But Magic Zoom Pro. I'll put this at the beginning just because it's easier to look at. And we're going to go switch to multi. Now, because it's an adjustment clip, we could cut it, but it's easier. You just line it up where you want, and then you just duplicate it holding the Alt key, and then you click on the second one, and you go mid. And it will just swap everything around so that it works. And I'll do another one, click on the next one, mid, and it's going to tell me this one's A because I've done a mid on a mid, and it's going to, off you go. And I'll do another one, and I'll set this one to be a mid. This one's going to go top right-hand corner. And it's going to go to the top right corner. You get the idea. Build it, build it, build it, build it, build it. And I put a lot into this, didn't I? Jesus. Ugh. Not all of them, but most of the things have that, right? So it works on this one too, with our little innie thing. I go, switch to multi, duplicate it. No, actually, let's put it in the corner because then it makes more sense. Well, just visually it looks better. Mid. Oh, that didn't... Oh, yeah, that's right. Bloop. Next one. Mid. Bloop. Yada, yada, yada. Off you go. And I've got one more, I've got like 2 more things to show you. This is why I did it as a live rather than a video, because the video it's going to take me ages to do all the how-to. If you can't be bothered with that, if you don't need all of that, there's a version here which is just called single. There's also a fast to single. Let's do fast to single. So this is the versions that don't have the blur, so they're super quick. Like, as I say, you can run this off at, I can run this off at like 200 frames. This is just one. So it's just one with no blur. It has the tilt and the shake and the pitch. So if you're in a pinch and you just go, I just want a nice one, really quick, that's basically the same as the free version. That is the free version, essentially. However, if you're in a pickle and you need 3 really quick ones, you can do that too. So when you drop this triple on here, you get 3 markers on screen. And actually I really like this workflow. Originally this was the workflow before I did those in, mid and out buttons. But you go, oh, I'm going to go down there, and then I'm going to go up there, and then I go down there. So I kind of find it works best if you kind of play through and then you move them around. But I'm going to hit play. It's going to go to this bottom one. You work from left to right. It's going to go to this middle one. And then when it can be asked, it'll go to this next one. But over on the right-hand side, like the zoom buttons, we've got time to second, time to third, and we've got 2 seconds, 6 seconds. And you treat this like, if you're in this blank area, you're in the first point. If you're in this middle, you're in the second point. And if you're in the end sort of dark area, you're in the third point. So any time I can go, right, this is the point where I want to move to the second point. Boom. The third one is a bit wrong at the minute, so that's going to do weird things. But it will move to the second point. It's going to look janky because I haven't set my third one yet. But let's say my third one is going to be over here. Time to third. It's going to move from the first to the second at 9.5 seconds. Second to third at 20 seconds. That's way too long. No one's got that much time to watch a demo for like that. Let's shorten it. So I'm going to zoom into 1. 203 seconds. Go to 2. 5 seconds. Go to thingy. And then I can zoom it out if I want to. Done. And something I forgot to show you. There's so much maths in this, by the way. I was not good at maths. This is horrible for me. I've been working at this on like non-stop for a month. Something I forgot to mention. It's just worth mentioning really quick. Once you've set this to be your multi, so obviously we've got our multi-points. This one's already set to an in, so I can duplicate this and set this one to a mid. If I adjust the zoom, right, this is going to also zoom in. So the zooms will transition as well. And then if I duplicate this and make it another mid, we're going to accommodate the additional zoom within the next one. So then the next one, I can zoom out. So it's not just about the pivot points, although that's kind of the main attraction. You can do the movements. Now it gets proper serious when you start to add constant zoom as well. So we can do a 0.8 constant zoom on this. It's going to do a little bit of a zoom. Duplicate that. Mid. It's not perfect. It annoyed me. Sleepless nights, because it kind of stops and then goes again. But the constant zoom will be taken into the whole equation as well. And actual last one now. Actual last one, I promise, and then we'll launch it. This was kind of a last minute addition. It's kind of jank. I need to fix it. But I thought I'd leave it in there anyway. A pop out. So you get 2 things. You get a mask and then you get a marker. And you go, I want the lorry to zoom in and kind of pop out over here. Sounded very English then, didn't I? Lorry. Have you got a lorry? So we can move that wherever we want. So that, again, just for tutorials, you want to, you know, all the effects are there. So it's like, I want to pop that in. Blur everything else. That sort of just applies like so. And there is a rectangle if you prefer. So we can put a little rectangle on there. And someone said, does it work with magic masks? It doesn't work with magic masks. Not that I've tried. So instead, I put a polygon on here. Now the polygon does really weird things with the scaling. Now this is going to be in the center, so this is kind of going to work, I think. But you kind of have to try and find it because it doesn't all align. But now my little truck's going to pop up over there. Bloop. And again, it goes a little bit janky when you change the zoom. You just have to imagine that there's two planes, so like two equal planes on top of each other, and we're zooming one in. So if you grab it from the right hand side, the center doesn't line up anymore because it's expanded. It's close. Yeah, anyway, but that's there if you want to use it. There's no more ands. That's it. Magic zoom. I think, personally, it's the best thing I've made. Really, my wife will confirm, I've thought of nothing else for weeks for this damn thing. I think your missus does half. Yeah, I think she does. She's put up with my nonsense. She's kept me fed and watered like a star. Right, let's make it live. As I say, if there's bugs, please let me know. Email me. Do whatever you want to do. What was it? Do we get the bloop sound effects? Bloop. That's a special edition version. That will be £100, please, for the bloops. And bloop. Right, let's launch this bad boy. Yeah, as I say, any bugs, please let me know. Please mess with it. Please do follow that routine. Maybe I'll do I did a demo video. Maybe I'll do another super quick video just showing you that routine, because if you get the routine wrong, going left to right, it will screw it up. So you have to follow that very specifically. There's no guides or anything yet. Okay, let me show you this super quick. When you download the Pro version, there are 2 DRFX files as mentioned. Do Magic Zoom Pro if you are on DaVinci Resolve Studio. Do Magic Zoom Pro Free Resolve if you're on the free version. The free version doesn't have that tilt shift, so everything else should work, but it doesn't have the tilt shift, so it will still run, it will still do everything that you need it to do. Is it a new version of Magic Zoom V3 or completely new? It's a completely new Magic Zoom. Now I can spend the next... Yeah, I've got loads to do. I'm working on weekend on something else, and then I've got a bunch to do on Monday, and then we'll jump into it. I will apologise in advance. The landing page sucks. I haven't had a chance to make it. And let me just make sure the files are there and it's not set to free. Oh, no files. Haven't I not uploaded the files? That would be a good start, Al. Yes, it would. Choose files. Yeah, so it's a zip file. You'll unzip the zip, obviously, and then within there, yeah, pick the DRFX you want to install. Let's hit done on that. I think that's everything. View sales page. Cool. Products. Oh, before it launches, shout up in the comments. We'll pick 5 winners, and I'll do 5 licenses for Magic Zoom Pro. This is where the comments go mental. I'm going to give it a second. And Becky, are you there? Mrs. MrAlexTech. Pick 5 random names for me if you're there, and then I'm completely unbiased. And jot them down. I'll pick some as well. Oh. I'm going to just put my mouse on someone. Who's that? I've got one. Okay, stop. No more. And we'll find out if she can't. Give me a minute. Hey, Matt. Did you get some? Did you hear me on the stream? No, I'm going to guess not. Are you still watching the stream? No, doesn't matter then. Oh, what? I can do my heart. That's all right. Right, she bloody left the stream, didn't she? So I'm going to scroll up, eyes closed. Who's that? Jonas Halsman. Heitzman. Heitzman. Not looking. Up and down. Who's the cursor on? The cursor is on Joshua Lum. Let's go right to the bottom. Who's this one? This one is Irrational Loser. How many is that? One more. I'm going to go right at the very bottom. Who's this? Chris Richardson. And the one I picked earlier, when I thought Becky was doing the rest, was Spirit Warrior. So you people whose names I just read out, email me with a screenshot of your YouTube. Not anything private or anything, just your name, your tag. Because I've got Irrational Loser, Joshua Lum, Spirit Warrior, Jonas Heitzman, and Chris Richardson. Take a little screenshot of just like your name, so I know the email is coming from you. Email info@MrAlexTech, and I'll sort you out. Congratulations. Giveaway. Stay tuned. Well, not now. Next week, I have a very, very good giveaway. So I'll be doing a live next week. Make sure you tune into that. It's not about any of this, but yeah, I've got something good coming next week. It's live, by the way. I think. There you go. So, MrAlexTech.com/Magic Zoom Pro for the Pro version. MrAlexTech.com/Magic Zoom Free for the free version. He's giving away a house. I wish. It's nearly as good. It's not as good as a house, but it's pretty cool. In total, I can give you this. In total, I have 61 things to give away, plus a few others which I'm trying to get hold of. It's a lot. Thank you, Becky. I've written them down. I haven't even tested the. Please, if anyone successfully gets to check out, I haven't. Literally just doing it now with you guys. Hope it all works. Everything else has worked. Yeah, it looks like it's working. You're more than welcome. Thank you, Drew. And thank you for anyone that purchased this. It's yeah, it's been a lot of hard work, but hopefully you all enjoy it. Have a play with it. Do let me know how it gets on. I've only really tested it. Everything should work across all systems. I've only tested it on here. I gave it a quick play on my MacBook, but that should work. The saver tool works on both Windows and Mac. I do need to do a Linux version, which I will do. It's just a bit fiddly, and I don't have Linux, so you know. One thing to bear in mind: all of the UI stuff is broken in DaVinci Resolve 19 betas 1 and 2. No, sorry, just 1. In beta 1. They broke the UI, but then they fixed it in beta 2. So if you don't want to go to the latest beta 3, which only came out today, which is fair enough because I haven't even got to that one yet, just make sure you're on beta 2 because that should work. Any oddities, anything you find, please let me know. Beta. Bata. It is the bata. Beta. Tacos. I kept getting scolded by Casey for saying taco. I hope you're good, Dan, by the way. My next job is the thing. Not tonight, though. I'm gonna finish my beers and go to bed. I might actually sleep tonight. Oh. I get super weird with this sort of thing. I just get engrossed and I have to... It just takes over my entire life. Which is why I haven't been making videos. And I haven't been doing anything. And I've got other work stacking up. Really fun work. But other work stacking up. So now this is out. This is out. I can chill. Will this work on Resolve 18.6? Yeah, should do. Should work on any version of Resolve after like 17.4, in theory. I don't think there's anything in there which shouldn't work. Carter, which file? This one. So, Carter Shabrat, if you're on DaVinci Resolve Studio, you just install Magic Zoom Pro. If you're on the free version of DaVinci Resolve, you install the Magic Zoom Pro free Resolve. Thank you, Cleverson. That's very kind of you. I'm going to stay on for another couple of minutes and then I'll let you all go. But thank you for joining. The next job is obviously I'll do a main video to get up on the channel to announce this properly because it's obviously a bit different from the live stream. So I'll try and get that done at some point. There's quite a lot to do in it, obviously. So it might take me a little while. And what I've tried to do in the past, I've done something with a guy, which is really cool. Let me show you something. Not everyone knows about this. It wasn't a secret or anything, but so one thing I'd really like to do is kind of custom versions of some of my packs. So I did one, I tested it with a guy called Jake, who's been using my Magic Animate in like really creative ways, which is really nice and it's really funky. So I ended up we worked with him, I collaborated with him, and we made like a custom Jake version of Magic Animate for him to sell to his audience, essentially, and it's a revenue split. And yeah, it's just a cool idea. So if that seems like a cool idea and you're a creator out there and you've been using the Magic Animate or Magic Zoom and you end up creating yourself loads of templates and you have an audience and, you know, you do this sort of thing, let me know. It might be something we can do. A couple of questions. Mini tutorials. Yeah, I'll get onto them tomorrow. I'll do some mini ones. Mainly on that workflow one is the main thing. Someone asked about Qualcomm, didn't you? Did Qualcomm give you a Snapdragon? No, they didn't. I've actually now, don't know if anything's going to come to fruition. I spoke to someone because they commented on the video and were like, I'm going to send you an email. So they sent me an email. Nothing. Literally, that's it. They said, "Hello, I'm from Qualcomm." Alex, can you tell me the difference between optimized media, proxies, and viewing the timeline in half resolution? Oh, that's a good question. Not really, to be honest. I don't really use it. I do proxies. So proxies is generated kind of outside of Resolve, kind of in Resolve, but outside. So they're external files. I don't really use optimized media much at all. I'm really going to tell you about that, actually. In terms of my favorite is the proxy resolution. All that essentially does is the preview resolution is reduced. So that doesn't make anything in the background. Like when you create proxies, you're making a new version of your files, which is just easier to run. The assumption a lot of the time is that they are smaller. They can be smaller. They can also be bigger sometimes. If you're using like really compressed footage, you'll unpack it and make it easier to use in Resolve. So they physically kind of exist, whereas changing the timeline resolution doesn't. It just says, run this a bit lower so it looks a bit worse in the preview, but it frees up some of the resources. In terms of optimized media, the honest answer to that is I couldn't tell you what optimized media really is. Anyone know in the comments? I've just never really used it and I couldn't tell you the difference. I guess it's essentially the same thing, isn't it? Just different formats. Thanks for joining, Kadek. It's nice to hear from you as well. Yeah, the same, just a different workflow. I mean, is there much need nowadays for optimized media? Because you can generate the proxies with the new proxy generator and you can do that within Resolve anyway. And that was the benefit of doing it with optimized media. So, yeah. Yeah, there you go. That's why I don't really know much about them because I've never really used much of optimized. Generating the proxies, it's much better now. You know, the fact that you can do it that way and then you know where it is because it creates a proxy folder for you, or you can just use the proxy generator, which is my preferred method. It's good. Yeah, proxy cloud workflow optimizes old. There you go. Thank you very much. Thanks, Kadek. I'm glad you enjoy them. So yeah, I met Kadek in my Discord, which then I got overwhelmed with and left, and haven't been back to. And then I've started other things, and then I feel the pressure of them being my thing, and then I don't like going in them, which is so dumb. But there you go. So I apologise, mate. But nice to hear from you as always. Did you say Magic Zoom Pro requires Studio? No, Floyd. So there's two versions when you download it. So once you've downloaded the zip, there will be two different DRFX files. One is just called Magic Zoom Pro. You need to be on Studio to run that one. Excuse me. But there's a separate file in there which says it's called Magic Zoom Pro Free Resolve. You can install that one if you're on the free version of Resolve, and you just lose the tilt shift. Darren, I'm your fan. Everyone's a fan of Darren. It'd be rude not to, really. So where do I get Magic Zoom? Oh, I need to update the description, don't I? But someone's asked, so I'll dump the links in again. There's the Pro version. There's the free version. Got hair on me glasses. Those who win the Pro version have Studio. I'll send them whichever version they need. Yeah, the HDR view is on Windows. Not something I would need, but it's good that it's there. And they've introduced, you can do the music thing per track. No, sorry, per clip rather than per track. That's a nice addition. Because obviously it's a really cool feature, and it was a little bit annoying to only be able to do it on the on the track. Look at that. Let's go with my face. So with that, unless anyone's got any other questions for me, I can probably bid you farewell. But thank you all ever so much for joining. Thank you for the ongoing support, watching the videos, enjoying these tools that I make. I hope there's no bugs in it. Well, there'll be minor bugs, but hopefully there's no super major bugs. Let me know. Beta 3 video. Yeah, although Patrick's already beat me to it, so Patrick's got one out, which sums it up nicely. So make sure to go out, check out Patrick's video. But I still need to do some more videos on some of the, because I've not done a video on the film look creator or some of the music stuff. So it's all in the pipeline. I've just been getting busy. Why is the zoom capped at only 5 seconds in length? Because I didn't think most people would need much further than that, because there is the constant zoom as well. If that's valid feedback, we can adjust it. The reason there's a cap on it is because if you set it too far, so if there's an in and out, if your clip's 10 seconds, for example, and you set an in and out and you set them both to be 6 seconds, it breaks everything because there's overlap and it doesn't know what to do. So I kind of have to put some limitations in there. Easing position makes uneven animations. Easing position, what do you mean, sorry? Longer than 5 would be good. Okay. That could be amended. I mean, yeah, I can set it so the scale is 5, and then if you really want to, you can overwrite it manually. And that's for the zoom duration, right? Cool. Cool. Yeah, that's good. The uneven. I think Patrick talked about that, didn't he? You can use the anchor point. Have a look at Patrick Sterling. He did a video all talking about that recently. Yeah, for fixing things. I'll probably try and take some. I'm going for some food and a catch up tomorrow night, so I can chill out then. Let me grab Patrick Sterling's channel really quickly. There is Jeff. Oh, that's me. Don't need to see that. One last link and then I'm going. There you go, Jeff. Link. Thank you. Just bought. Thank you very much. I love your videos as well. Thank you. Thank you. Right. I bid you all fairly well. And can't wait to see what you do. Oh, don't even get me started, Asher. I haven't thought about that yet. I have, actually. I know what that's going to be, too. Oh, that's going to be... I'm going to try and get creative and do things that people haven't done with that as well. So, there you go. A bloop. Take it easy, folks. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for all the love. Thanks for being awesome. I'll see you next time. Where's me stop? There it is. Bye. See ya.